Hey there, lovely people. Welcome back to another Story Study Saturday. I'm Sammy, and I'm a writer who likes to learn about writing through reading and share what I learn with you. This week, we are talking about Daughter of the Pirate King, and I swear, I've had this book on my radar for like a while, and I don't know what has stopped me from actually picking it up for all of this time, but like, I got it on my Kindle. I was like, I want to read that book. And then I was like, I really want to read that book. And then I got it on my Kindle and then I just never read it until now. Now I've read it. Finally picked it up and it did not miss. It did not miss a single mark. I adored it. If you want a summary of The Daughter of the Pirate King, here is a quick one. Alosa is a badass. She is a talented pirate and knows her strengths and her very few weaknesses well. She is sent on a mission to recover part of a map from one of her father's rivals by allowing herself to be captured by the enemy. In her chosen prison, she spends her time looking for the map and getting to know the crew, especially first mate Raiden, who is her interrogator. So let's get into my thoughts on this one. It's interesting how much I enjoyed this book. I've never really thought of myself as like a pirate story kind of gal, but this one, and then I feel like the Fable duology was also in this, and I just adored and devoured all of those. I don't know what it is, but I think I may be a pirate gal. New discoveries. I didn't watch Pirates of the Caribbean until this year, so I'm honestly shocked that this is like a story trope that I'm down for. I guess I am a pirate girly. I adored the strength and just sheer cockiness that Alosa had the whole story. I practically devoured this book in like 2 days, and then I got the audiobook of the second one immediately after and devoured that in 1 day. So it's like her personality just drew me in so fully that I was like, this is great. I'm never putting this down, which could be something that people don't like, but I really enjoyed it. And just like the juxtaposition of what the other people thought to expect from her, and then like her inner monologue being like, man, I really wish I could just kick the crap out of these guys, but I gotta hold back so they think I'm a weak little girl. And I loved it. I loved it so much. There is also a really great juxtaposition of Raiden and what Alosa thought to expect from a pirate, and how he just like went completely against all of her expectations. And that was really neat. And then with Draxon, Raiden's brother, who is the captain of the enemy ship that they're on, he's like so drastically juxtaposed from Raiden that you get to see a very clear picture of who Raiden actually is through what Alosa expects and what his brother shows on the ship. And it's really great, really well thought out way of characterizing this character, and I really enjoyed it. He's a great counterbalance to Alosa. There's also a really unique way of expressing Alosa's relationship with her father through the use of memories and like triggers that Raiden ends up like asking her questions to draw out the truth that she doesn't actually believe to be true. And it's done in a way that's very realistic to having not had your eyes open to something that is not good, and then having your eyes open to the fact that it's not good and trying to consolidate with it. And the way that she puts those pieces together and like constantly fights against it is really beautiful to watch. The relationships that Alosa develops with all of the characters that she interacts with are all drastically different, and it makes her feel more well-rounded and like a full genuine person, and also helps those characters feel more like they are real people as they are influencing how she behaves and interacts with them, which I think is great in general to have those like different ways of developing a relationship, different ways of interacting with different characters. And it really shows that your main character is a fully fleshed out character. And in some cases, her interactions were a strategic choice. In some cases, they were just how she interacted with different people. And I think that that's a really interesting way of showing that your character is well-rounded and fully developed, building out the side characters based on that full main character. There is also world building that is enough that it's a different world than the one that we are in, but it's not overly different that it needs to be super explained and detailed out. And it's given to us in a way that's subtle, and generally the way that I enjoy world building to be explained to me, where it's not like, this is what the world looks like. I don't want to need a map at the beginning of the book to know what's going on. I think maps in books are cool, but only when I don't need to know that they're there. I like it when I can understand and kind of comprehend Like, we're traveling distances. This is a place that most people don't know where it is, and all of those kinds of things. And I think that this did a really good job where if I were given a map, I would not have been mad about it, because there's so much of this story that relates to there being a map that I'm like 10 out of 10. So what do I think could be improved? Because there's always something that I think could make a story slightly better for my personal experience. I only have one thing, because I literally adored this book. Instant 5 stars. I wish that Alosa's inner monologue wasn't as repetitious at times. There were a lot of moments where she was just like, her inner monologue was just her thinking, man, I'm so strong, I could take out these people so easily, but I have to play the weak little girl. Man, I have to play weak. I really want to just kick the crap out of these dudes. Dang it. I really just wish I got to play weak, but I just didn't care after a little bit. Like, okay, I understand that the story hasn't completed yet, so you do have to continue to play this role, but you put yourself into this position. I understand it at the same time as being annoyed by it. Like, I understand it in her character. It makes complete sense in her character. I just wish that it didn't happen. And that's, for me, that's my experience of it. So what can writers learn from this story? Strong relationships lead to stronger characters all the way around. If you have a main character that has multiple different types of relationships, different interactions with different characters, and all of those relationships are unique and nuanced, it creates a fully rounded, developed, flexible person at your main character, and it creates an understanding that every one of those side characters is a different person themselves. And that leads to a stronger story, stronger characterization on all accounts, main character and side character. So strong relationships lead to strong characters. I think this book is also a great example of showing motivation from a character that is not your point of view character, because we get a lot of motivation that is not fully understood by Alosa from Raiden, but we can use our personal readers' empathy and like understanding of people to take into account his actions and understand his motivations through those things. And I think that this is a really great example of doing that outside of your main character's perspective without doing the like multiple point of view switching in chapters thing. I think it does a really good job of that. It's also a good example of a fast moving romantic relationship without being an insta-love. Like, how crazy is that? And it's well done too. There's a lot of like pushback on it, on the opportunity for it to be an insta-love, which is a natural, like reasonable response for a person to have. That's also a good example of multiple different ways of having a paternal conflict from a child's perspective. I think it's done really interestingly because you have multiple different characters addressing their relationships with their dads and comparing and contrasting and juxtaposing those situations, which creates a more nuanced, interesting understanding of that father-child relationship. And I don't think you see that super often in these like higher action kind of physical conflict type of stories. It's got like a really interesting internal conflict going on, relationship conflict going on there. But that is all that I've got for you today. Have you read Daughter of the Pirate King? Let me know in the comments. Let's have a little book chat about it. Did you enjoy it as much as I did, or am I like just super special? It's all personal taste, so like if you didn't, that's totally fine. But I would love to know your thoughts on it. If there's anything else you think could have been improved about it, let me know, because I devoured it so fast. So fast. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It'll really help me out. And if you don't want to miss any of my uploads, hit the subscribe button. I'm here every Tuesday and Saturday for Writing Tip Tuesdays and Story Study Saturdays. So I will see you guys on Tuesday.